to just share what we've been doing ever since the COVID-19. I'm trained as an anthropologist, so most of the time I think my way of doing things together with my colleague is by using a method is AA method, which is analytical autoethnography. So when I do design work, I always involve my colleagues to do fieldwork together and constant reflecting what you actually need, what you have seen, and what you want to contribute. So always put yourself in the big picture before you do any meaningful dialogues or contribution to others. Constantly keep asking questions and try to answer questions by yourself. So I will give you one or two examples as a starter. Very recently, one of my good friends in Shanghai is actually American. His father died from COVID-19, and his mother also infected by this disease. And most importantly, he's a single child, so incredibly difficult situation for him. And now he lives in Shanghai with his wife and two kids. So it's really a dilemma for him. But finally, in the end, he decided to fly back to see her mom. But that is a huge decision for him because that means he have no idea how can he get back to join his family here in China. So when I live in Shanghai, I constantly encounter something like this on a day-to-day basis. So when I do design work and also do the media campaign things and also do education, I know this disease has transformed our society in a really traumatic way. So I tend to use more of my my methods and also constantly chewing over my own experience to share with others. And when we design community project like this is one example. This is actually a journal, but when I finish one community design, I might just walk off with all the money, but I often do many redundant things, superfluous things that my colleagues always complaining, Jolie, why you keep doing something others do not expect from you. The reason why I'm doing this because I don't want something designed just as a product and they just rip it up the essence and they throw away many very good designs away like rubbish. So this brochure is actually monthly. Most of the writing contents is added by myself together with one or two designers. And I send it to the community members for free, just to share the situation about the disease. Also to share some insights, what's going on around the world in terms of community design, lifestyle. And just last week, I encouraged my colleague to do a one seminar. It's more like a workshop with a group of elderly people by doing one dessert together. The dessert is an Italian dessert. It's called tiramisu, and but I twittered the name to alamisu because in Chinese, ala actually in Shanghainese, ala means me. It's like my misu. So I designed this kind of a dessert together with my colleague. I have one conception. I'm trying to convince my beginning by convincing my colleague. Actually, you can do something together, like dessert together with your family members, even with your friends. So you can using different layers of food, and you share the food together. So each one of them, when they put the spoon inside the scoop it, it's like a shared story. Oh, this layer reminds me my childhood. Maybe an elderly person use another spoon, dig in the middle layer, and say, "Oh, that reminds me when I was 18, um, and I buy this dessert to share with my girlfriend." So it's really kind of conversation based food. So that's why I call it tiramisu. And I know when I design this food project for the community, what I'm trying to contribute is to bring some conversation, very variable conversation back to community life. Because if you have a chance to live in Shanghai, very easily you'd be mind boggled by the fast pace in Shanghai communities. People sometimes they don't care about each other. They always live in their own bubbles. And it's not just because of COVID-19. Before COVID-19, many people live inside their bubbles and their cocoons. And even though Shanghai is such a cosmopolitan city, but travel in Shanghai is like travel in different countries. The northern part of Shanghai can be drastically different to southern part of Shanghai. It's like you travel 2 or 3 blocks. It's like you visit Paris first, and then you visit Brasilia, and then you visit Chile. It's really strange if you really can put themselves together. So when I say transgeneration design, I always trying to cultivate a sense of human-centered, based on each individual story, based on each individual's reflection of their own life, and to cultivate what we call as a lead culture. Because when we design center for older people always say, don't make it too colorful. I don't want to live in like a kindergarten kind of place. But what we trying to convince them is you maybe not should be, you should not be too selfish, because many kids, they have to stay with older people because their parents have to work. So maybe you can share some of your space together with your grandson or granddaughter, or some other people's grandson, granddaughter, because when they play together, when the older people hang together, they can keep an eye on kids. So that's make the transgeneration design possible. Um, Another example I would like to give you is one book like this. This book is I did together with my daughter, but the story is collected from Brazil. When I did my field work in Brazil by following the GMO soybean plantation project, the story is narrated by a local Shavanti old people. It's about a star. A star transfigurizing into a lady, and the boy trying to rescue this lady by put the lady back into the forest to find a tree, patting the tree grown forever in the sky, and then send the lady back into the star. It's just beautiful adolescent story. So I asked my Portuguese friend to translate it first into English, then I translate it into Chinese, and I rewrite it by using many traditional Chinese literature to make it more Chinese-like. And I worked together with my daughter. My daughter painted half of it, and I painted another half, and I turned it into a book. And I constantly using the story to share in the transgeneration community center I've been doing. For the past 4 years, we finished 42 centers for older people. I always design this kind of originative story to share with them. I just trying to encourage them. You may never have a chance or have a curiosity to visit Brazil, those Shavanti people, Shavanti village, but you're encountering Brazil on a day-to-day basis. From last year, we imported at least 10 10 million, 100 million, 100 million GMO soybeans from Brazil. That's a huge number. And I've seen with my own eyes how the GMO soybeans have wreaking environmental havoc. So when I design the transgeneration center, it's not just a design one center and make it more comfortable for you to play cards, play mahjong together. This is a center for you to broadening your horizon. So I'm gonna bring all kinds of people, all kinds of activity, curriculum. Even some of the projects not funded, like this project. No one's funded this, but I'm doing something not because I can get money from it. Definitely, I need to get money to keep the ball rolling. But when I finish the basic requirement, I started thinking what is actually make our center, the Oriental Technology Center, different from others. Because we call ourselves nonprofit, we call ourselves think tank, but you know, in China, it's very difficult to register your organization as a think tank or as a NGO, a really NGO. It's almost impossible because of legal issue, because of the different, very complicated political issues. It's almost impossible to run a pure NGO. So you have to be smart. You have to constantly exploiting yourself if you don't want to exploit others. And of course, I don't want to exploit those older people. And because for one thing, they don't have money, but they have so many good stories to tell. Like just like the very very poor and very very disenfranchised or dispossessed group of people living in the middle of nowhere in a Shawanti village. I know how they suffer. So I want to do something to link them together, to make them to have open heart, to see each other like on equal footing. So I guess that's something make our organization special, a little bit different from others. I think that's all I want to share. I'll wrap up here, and if you have any other questions, I will be happy to share. Thank you.
ZHOU.